I wanted to show nature, you know, and thinking about nature, how can you bring nature into your work? It's really interesting because I'm actually teaching a course right now called Building a Body of Work. And what I'm finding is that there is a commonality through so many artists and jewelers and ceramic people and everyone where we're bringing nature into our work, you know. And I used to find years ago, like when I would do American Craft Council, is that most of us artists that would come in with our work, whoever we were bringing in the same themes. Like one year, everybody would do natural look on their work, not just jewelry, but ceramics and furniture and all of that. And another year, people would bring in sharp edges or squares or ovals or, you know, just, it's so interesting because all artists know that there is a flow. And if you tap into that flow, you kind of get the feeling of what you want to build. And also, you know, it just happens to also be what's popular and what people buy and all of that. So as we get deeper into the digital world, as we see, there's a trend going deeper into building work that reminds you of nature. Why not? Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So in my work, I wanted to show you guys, you know, today, I just want to bring up this idea, if you're interested in bringing in just little pieces, little ways that we can do our, you know, bringing nature in. I want to show you some leaves today. They're really fun. They're tiny. They're all this little, you know, type of fringe that I love to do too. So I just have some little samples here laying around, how tiny they are, but I want to show you how to make them from scrap. And from here, you guys can take this and build them grand or build them small or build them however you want to. So I have a little bit of scrap here, and my scrap is, I think it's a 22 gauge. Usually for work this little, I like to work with 24 gauge, but you can see it looks like a little leaf is cut out there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get started just cutting out from here. Let me find a good edge to get going. Okay. So this I have printed on here a leaf shape, and this is what, for me, you know, I love taking dried leaves, picking them, gathering them. You could do live leaves too and roll them through your mill. And I know I have another film in here that shows you how to, you know, really how to do this type of of work. Roll it through the rolling mill. We know that. I'm going to use the back side, and I'm just going to kind of cut out some small images like this. The thing about nature and leaves is that they don't have to be perfect, you know? Like I can take that shape, and now I have a beautiful piece like this. So how can I move my work? Come at it this way. You can do it the long way. You can do short ones. I can use, so I'm just going to get in. Sometimes it's the tiniest, craziest shapes that really become really interesting as a leaf. Like look at this one. I kind of like that shape, but I'm going to bring it into a point. There we go. Isn't that a cute? That one, you know, some of these are so unexpected. You don't have to have such a beautiful edge. It could just come around this way. Whoops. And it's really using found pieces to create your look. You could do a really long one if you wanted to. I could do a little short one here. What other way? Oh, I could come in this long way. I'm going to do a long leaf here. I just like to use up all my little scrap this way. See, isn't this a little perfect one there? So I'm going to take a couple of these now that I've cut out from here. I'm going to show you just how I alter them a little bit. So you can see I'll start with this largest one. Maybe bring you down a little bit. Oop. There we go. Now, these are some tools for forging that I have. You just want something with a little dull edge. I've done these for repoussé, forging. Truthfully, one of my favorite tools is this shorter one here, or maybe this size. And I'm gonna bring a line down the center. So some of them, you know, sometimes I use the pieces that have a line down the center, and sometimes I just create them myself. So to start, I'm gonna just run a line down here like this. Maybe I'll go back in with a short one. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nature is not perfect. Isn't that a cool thought? And maybe I'll start in here with this one too. This is a long one. There we go. There's a sharp edge. If you're using anything smaller, you can do this with copper or brass. And if you're using anything smaller than a 22 gauge, you want to be really careful because these tools can cut. So you want to be careful with how hard you hit them with a hammer. Okay, so usually what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll polish up the sides of here on my bit. I'll make sure that they're cut to size just so they look really pretty and yummy. I don't want sharp edges though. Okay. Now what I can do, you know, is actually you can put these in dapping blocks to curve out, but I just kind of like holding my piece on the edge where this line is and just kind of manipulating in this way. Folding them all the way in, and sometimes my hands are in the way when I'm trying to show you what I'm doing here. See, we see leaves like these, don't we? They're not all perfect and flat. Who likes flat leaves? We want these dimensional pieces. And then maybe I even want to bring in a little curve in this bottom part here. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll exaggerate a piece, get movement in it. You want to make sure that it's annealed, so you can bend these up beautifully. And then I'll take my rubber mallet and just kind of, you know, you can actually work a little bit off the edge and get a nice little curve on it if you wanted to. See how we've got a nice little curve? So the more times in, the better your piece is gonna look, you know, so you can work this way in over and over again. So once I have this done, what I do, I'm gonna use this is a 20 gauge, just a round wire, but you can use anything that you'd like to. And I'm just gonna put a stem on it. You can decide if you want your stem straight down the middle, or I'm gonna actually, in this, I'm just gonna show you how to solder on, and I'm gonna put it right here on the back. So come on over to this side. I've got 2 pieces here. Let me grab my locking pliers. I'm just going to use my tweezers. And you can use an easy, a medium. This doesn't matter. I'm only one and done getting into solder this. So I'll probably just use a medium. Medium is the closest color to your sterling silver. I mean, well, it's closer than an easy. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a medium. I use pick solder. I'm just going to put it right at the end, right here. Get that flowing. Use my tweezers, get it set up. Okay, I've got this quenched, so I'm just going to put a little bit of heat on here. Okay, this is the way I want to come in. No, I can come in either way. Okay, I just have a little chunk right here. Just going to heat this up. It's not going to take long. There we go. And I have a beautiful little stem on the back. So when this is cleaned up, I can add this with other pieces and I'll show you what it looks like. So here's 2 of the leaves that I did. You can see they're dimensional. They have shape for them, which is convincing. And, you know, just a nice little flat one. These could be used as charms or anything, but they can be in any color. Patinas on here would be beautiful. So I wanted to show you one more thing, and that would be, you could see on this piece here, I used a twisted wire. That was a 24 gauge twisted. This is a 20 gauge just round wire. I want to show you if you wanted to put together a piece that was more like a vine in nature. Come on over here and I'll just show you this. So here I have a couple pieces, just a couple pieces of wire that I could put in here. And then sometimes I'm just going to do a little bit of fusing, and sometimes I just put a little bit of scrap in there. Let me cut off a little bit of scrap. Some scrap pieces on here, get it fused to see what we have. This is just a sterling silver that I'm cutting a little bit of scrap. Okay. Now if I wanted to, I also could do, where are my tweezers? I've got a little on my board somewhere. I have a little bit of, just a little ball here too that I could fuse on there too. So let's see, I'm going to push this in at the last minute. I'm going to give it a spritz. This is all sterling silver, and just see what happens. This is just fusing, you know, in a style that could be a branch or a leaf. Okay. And I like them. I love when they're skinnier at the edge, so that's good. Just got my little piece. Maybe I want to put a little piece, one of these pieces on there too. There we go. So I've got something here that is more natural looking. See that? So I'm going to take this, clean it up a little, and I'll show you how it looks when I use it as a branch. Okay, so here's the other piece that I love. I'm just going to show you soldering this together and show you what it looks like in the end. So, you know, from this, what I always like to show is just taking this technique and expanding it. So, okay, we're going to come in again. I'm just going to attach a little bit to the end of this piece here. Actually, I want it, yeah, this is my back side, and that's my back side. So maybe this time I will do an easy, sorry, leaning over across, but I'm going to do an easy. Easy is so easy. Just right on the end here. There we go. And then I've got my lock and pliers. Get this fluxed. And I'm just going to come in and hit the back of this very gently. Lay down my wire. There we go. Oh, it's actually, sorry, I flipped it. Nice and straight. And I just wanted to show you the finished piece here. I love the way this looks. This piece could stand on its own. So the only thing you want to make sure is you get filed up a little bit of the sharp edges and that it's strong enough to endure as a piece of jewelry. So I hope you guys like this. Please have fun with it and make sure you like and subscribe. This really truly helps my channel grow and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.